everyone, and thanks for tuning in. This is Metal Devastation Radio. I'm your host today, DJ Lovely Laura, broadcasting live from Dallas, Texas. I just want to say welcome, everybody, to the show, and I just want to say that we have a great, great holiday season coming up upon us just right around the corner, and one of the most anticipated shows is just coming up at American Airlines Center at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Just a great show. December 21st, I think it is, Sunday, the American progressive rock band founded by producer Paul O'Neill, over 10 million albums sold. Trans-Siberian Orchestra is going to be live right here in Dallas, Texas. So don't miss the show. Get your tickets. Lead guitarist and music director, and some might say the most innovative guitarist of our time, Al Pitrelli, has joined us live right now. Say hello to Al. Hey, everyone.
Well, good morning, everyone. How you doing, lovely one?
I'm doing great, and how are you? Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas in advance. I can't wait to see everybody in that great city of yours pretty soon. It's coming up quick now.
Yes, it's just Sunday. I guess this Sunday you guys are going to be here in Texas. I guess, when do you start the Texas tour? That would be...
Well, oh, God, I know we got San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, and Austin coming up pretty quick. So I think we end up in Texas tomorrow. Also, Wednesday I'm in New Orleans. Thursday I think we got a show down at the Frank Owen Center in Austin. So there's nothing better than coming back to that great state of yours.
Yes, we have great weather. It's a little cool right now, but actually it's going to be 80 degrees on Christmas Day, believe it or not.
Love that.
That's Texas for you, I tell you. 30 degrees at night, though.
That's right, I'll take it.
All right, so you guys have a kind of a brand new show this year, the debut of the Christmas Attic and stuff. I want to hear all about this. Tell me what's going on with this new show. It must be great playing those live tracks for the first time.
A lot of the songs we're playing, first time ever they've been performed. We've been touring for the better part of 15 years now, and over the years we've been performing Christmas Eve and Other Stories in its entirety. A couple of years ago, Paul O'Neill decided he wanted to try The Lost Christmas Eve, so we introduced that record to everybody. And this year, The Middle Child, The Christmas Attic, which was the second of the three rock operas, is being performed in its entirety. So we've done probably about 30 shows already, and the reaction's been incredible. It told me, Laura, that everybody loves Paul's writing, so it's not necessarily one or two or three songs that put us on the map, but they love the stories, they love the narration, they love the underscoring, and just, Paul's got a very clever way of just telling tales through a child's eyes, so it doesn't go too far over anybody's head, but yet it's pretty intricate and pretty complex in the dynamics of the story. So it's a lot of fun to watch people's expressions change for the first time, especially mine, because I always have an anxiety attack when we're doing something brand new. I want everybody to love this one, I mean, they're like my kids. So, when you introduce somebody to them for the first time, you're holding your breath to make sure that everybody loves this one as much as the other two. And now so far they have.
I'm sure they have. And I heard that you guys are re-releasing the Christmas Attic to coincide with the tour as well?
Absolutely. That was kind of bittersweet, too, because we went back into the studio, I guess, like the middle of last summer, and put up the song Music Box Blues that Daryl Pettiford had recorded with me back in 98, And unfortunately, Daryl passed away not too long after that. I think it's 10 years since he left this world. And when they put the faders up, his voice was alive and well, and that to me is the definition of living in heaven, because, you hear his voice, you speak his name, and everybody kind of smiles, and he'll live forever with us. But it was nice to play some guitar parts over that track to re-release it, so, just to freshen it up a little bit and re-present it to the world.
All right, so do you guys have any new singers, new faces this year coming on aboard?
Well, we have all the usual suspects that have been with me for a bunch of years now, with one addition. Paul found this young lady, her name is Gabriella Gunn, who, of all places, comes from Prague, Czech Republic. So that's, where the internet does actually work, between online shopping and looking for great talent. The internet's a useful tool.
Oh, yeah.
Paul found her. She's been with us, and she's just killing it every night, as is all the other ones. I mean, I got everybody on that stage is just crushing. I mean, Jeff Scott Soto, Andrew Ross, John Brink, Bart Chantel's come back to us after a couple-year break. He played the bum in Old City Bar all those years.
Right.
Chloe Lowry, April Berry, Ava Davis, Jody Katz. They're all hear Nathan James, back from London. He's singing. So, you get on stage with that chemistry, and it's absolutely crushing. I mean, these guys are just so good. It's easy for me to do my job. I just kind of start them and stop them, and everything in between is up to them.
Yeah, you're very great yourself. But yes, I would say everybody is so talented in the show, always giving 100%. I mean, really absolutely incredible. I know when I first heard about the orchestra, I've only been going for the last 4 years since I've been talking to you. And when I first heard about the orchestra, I was like, I don't know if I want to go to that. And then my friend Andy, who's my photographer, you guys will recognize when y'all see him because he goes to all your shows. He's like, no, this is not like any kind of orchestra show. It's rock, It's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Let me hear, I want to hear a little more about this. And I went, and I'm telling you, just blown away. You just have to take all that in. So what do you guys, you probably want that, of course, and get that a lot from your fans, but what do you expect to give to the fans when they come to a show? Maybe a new fan is listening right now, and there's, they want to know what it's going to be all about and what they're going to see. It's family oriented, so you can bring your kids and stuff. That's great. I love the charity work. So give us the...
Well, there's so much to it. I mean, people have, I wouldn't call it misconceptions, but certainly, they're trying to figure what they are. If they've never seen us, they hear, it's called the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, so that has its own connotation,
Yeah.
But when they walk into the arena and they see the rig, there's no mistaking that this is hands down the biggest rock and roll
yeah.
on the planet.
Yeah.
So they're looking at it going, okay, this doesn't look like Carnegie Hall, not even close.
Yeah.
So then from the downbeat, they know that it's a pretty complex musical presentation because, we come out with the full orchestra and the choir, and we're going to basically, like I said, the tone for the front. And so dynamically we kind of drop it down. But it's not a roller coaster. That's the beauty of music. I mean, there's a finite amount of ingredients musically that you can draw from, but it's the dynamics and the combination of those that I'm sorry about that. I'm getting phone problems in the hotel. So what I was saying was just dynamical. It goes all over the 2.5 hours, and we're going to take it's on this journey. It's just fascinating to watch their expressions change as Paul's story starts to unfurl, through Philip Brandon's voice and the narration of the poetry and all the underscoring that goes on with that.
Yes, it's such a great collaboration of all of you. Just, it's incredible. You've known Paul since back in the Sabotage days. Is that correct?
Well, I know Paul back from about 1984 or 85 when I first met him, and then we got together and worked on Sabotage in 95 on the Dead Winter Dead record. So, we had kind of a nice relationship for about 10 years, mutual respect for each other. And, every time you see somebody in a club in New York City or at some studio, hey, dude, we got to work together one day. You meet somebody that you like, and if you know that they're pretty good at what they do, you always want to get together with them. That's how we are. And Paul's one of those guys who called me up and said, listen, I'm kind of stuck in a corner and I don't know what to do, so could you help me out? Because he knew I was pretty well versed in a lot of different styles, not only playing rock and roll guitar.
Right. And so when he came with you with the idea, did you kind of envision the same? Did you guys collaborate pretty well together on what he was looking for?
Yeah, we hit it off from the jump pretty perfectly. He put the faders up on a song called Christmas Eve Sarajevo, and this was part of the centerpiece of the rock opera he was writing with John Oliva for the band Sabotage called Dead Winter Dead. And the short version of a very long story is that I had been over in Yugoslavia a bunch of years prior with Alice Cooper when I was his MD.
Right.
And a lot of the buildings we had played in were destroyed in the war, and a lot of the people that I had befriended were killed, unfortunately, in the war. So when Paul, I guess it must be 5 or 6 years after that, told me the story he was writing, the hair on my arm stood up because I said, no, dude, I was there. I know what, I just thought, so let's go there together now. And I started kind of noodling around with some different ideas and themes on the guitar, and he just looked at me and goes, that's exactly what this needed. And there was our relationship, I mean, it was one of those things that your life kind of circuitously wiggles about, and all of a sudden you end up in this one place and everything lines up perfectly.
Exactly.
So, I didn't know in '89 when I was over there that in 6 years that, I was going to be part of something that was going to change my life forever and a lot of other lives forever. I just knew that, I'm playing guitar and I'm traveling the planet and doing my thing, constantly trying to be a good student of music. And when I got with Paul, everything in my abilities, all my backgrounds in different styles and genres were tapped into, and that's how it began,
So who inspired you, Al? Who was your first concert?
The Temptations in 1968.
Wow. That is diverse.
Yeah, I was a big Motown fan. I mean, you got to understand, back in the 60s, there wasn't really any radio format, so it was basically whatever came out of you, the stereo and your father's Impala,
Right.
And so at any moment, Marvin Gaye will have his night, Stevie Wonder, the Beach Boys, the Beatles, the Stones, whatever top 40 was back to share. That was a big one. Gypsies, Trans-Siberian was all over the place.
Right.
So you didn't know anything other than good songs, good songwriting, good parts playing. Musicians on those records just played parts for the songs. If you go back and listen to all the early Jackson 5 stuff, the band, I think they were called Funk Brothers, that were part of the Motown scene.
Right.
They just played what the song needed, and that's how I grew up. And then, being part of the public school systems, being in band and orchestra and wind ensemble, marching band and all that stuff, you just learn to read scores and be part of a larger ensemble. I didn't know it was kind of foreshadowing to what I'd be doing for the rest of my life.
Right.
I knew that I loved the complexities of music, And then as you grow up, when you hear like Zeppelin and first of all, the Allman Brothers live at the Fillmore album, Jeff Beck, the first time he played Freeway Jam, I was like, good Lord, I got to do that.
Yeah. So I'd love to see some of those band pictures. You need to post those. Also, it says that you went to Berklee School of Music in Boston. Do you ever go back and visit?
Well, I don't, only because it wasn't the greatest experience in my life.
Really?
I got up there. A buddy of mine, great guitar player, who's kind of been a mentor over there. Steve I went there, and he told me that you get off of Long Island and go study. So the studying part of the education up there, I didn't really get too much from, but what it did teach me is I met so many musicians from all over the planet that I saw that I got a lot of work to do. I mean, I thought I was the best guitar player in my little town on Long Island. Then you get up there, and there's about 2,000 other ones who think the same thing.
Exactly.
But what was cool about it is that I ended up getting into a band with Eric Sheranian, who became the keyboard player. He was with me with Cooper, and then he went on to play with Dream Theater, and now he's playing Hammond organ and piano with Joe Bonamassa. He and I and the drummer named Will Calhoun, who started the band Living Color, ended up being in a band together. So you got three kids from three different parts of America with three different musical backgrounds, and that taught me, how diverse music really is. And I learned from Will learned from me. We didn't learn anything from Derek. No, I'm kidding. But, like everybody brought something to the table, so when we get together and jam and improvise, it was kind of awesome. After about 2 semesters of that, I said, you know what, dude, I had enough. I want to get back to New York and hit the streets and see if I can carve out something for myself. And that's what I did. I just went back with a little bit extra knowledge, and just the hunger that is just insatiable. I just wanted to go be that dude now. Mm-hmm. And I just went for it and hit it. That was it. You
know what? You are that dude, Al. You are him. I mean, you got to be really, really proud of yourself and the accomplishment. I mean, this thing that you're doing with it's got such a meaning to it. It's almost as traditional as Christmas, and it's just so pure, and I love it. I mean, I never thought that I could be so addicted to something. It's been a long time. There's just, to me, not as great of music out today as there used to be, like back in the 80s and 90s, 60s, but just incredible. I mean, I look forward to it. I see so many people just posting such wonderful comments about the show. What's going on with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Sabotage that played the Open Wacken Air in 2015?
We've somehow it ended up that it's the biggest open air festival in Europe.
Wow.
Sabotage played there, I think I'm going to say 90, 96, 97, something like that. And all these years later, Sabotage, co-headlining with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, has been invited back to play. And I know that Adam Lynn and Kenny Capital managers and Paul have put together this incredible production that they want to present over there, where, the two bands will be up there. And I'm not going to give too much away. I just know that it's going to be like one of those nights that, will live forever with all of us. Because Sabotage was such an incredible band that, first of all, prior to my involvement, they were great. I mean, Chris Oliva, just such an amazing guitar player. The songs that he and John wrote, the productions and the writing that they did when Paul got involved, and you could see how that band kind of started growing up and maturing musically. And then for, the tragedy that occurred, and for me to kind of walk in, not to replace anybody, but just to kind of like, as they're changing direction and as the energy was shifting, I got involved. And the band was just, oh my God, it was crushing it the first time I ever toured with them. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So to get, that core lineup back together, to have the production, to have Trans-Siberian Orchestra there with it, that would be like the last 20 years just like in one evening. Like everything that we've accomplished and a huge exclamation point. And more importantly, it's going to be great to have John Oliva back on stage with us. I mean, because without him, there's really nothing. I mean, it's the magic between he and Paul O'Neill that created this. So I think Oliva, he's like my brother. I love him to death, and I can't wait to look over my left shoulder and see him sitting behind the piano again.
Right. So it's kind of like the European tour and you guys getting together all together at once, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'd be the first time in a lot of years.
Wow. Wish I could be there for that. Okay. And, I was also, I play a lot of Savatage on my show too, because I do a lot of the 80s and old school rock and roll that I play. So it's great to hear that you guys just keeping that alive. A lot of Savatage fans out there still just really always talking about you guys, always want me to play you guys. What's your favorite thing about Christmas, Al?
Standing on stage and playing these songs. This will be my first Christmas ever with Nicole and Olivia.
Wow.
So I know that the house is being decorated. The trees are up, the wreaths are up.
Right.
You got to make it, that house a home now.
That's right.
So I think that's going to be my new favorite thing. I think they even decorated the dog.
The little dog outfits, those are great.
Yeah, to come home to a house, like that after all these years is going to be extremely special for me. We're going to have Christmas Eve on January 5th when I get home, and then Christmas Day on the 6th together. But, to come home something as wonderful as what I'm doing out here, and then to go home and have the other side of the fence equally as fabulous, it's just, I can't even explain it. So I think that now the holidays they become magic to me again, because when you're happy at home, you're happy out here. And when you're happy out here, you're happy at home. So somehow the balance finally occurred, and all is good in the world.
Yes. And when you're projecting that happiness, Al, we feel it, and we're so happy for you. I mean, Christmas, it's not about the materialism. It's about family, relationships, and love. It really is. And I think that's what the show brings too, and the talent of all the people in the show. So that's great.
Well, I agree. I think also sometimes, Christmas is a bittersweet holiday. I mean, it wasn't always pleasant for me, as the same with a lot of folks in the audience. And I think that if you talk about the unpleasantries and you talk about the darker side of it, maybe everybody in the audience who doesn't feel as jubilant as the person that's sitting next to me, maybe they said, oh, I'm not alone in this. Okay, it's okay. Maybe they feel a little sad sometimes.
Right.
I got two children in the armed forces. I mean, my oldest is in the special forces, and my youngest is leading for the Navy. So for the past bunch of years, anytime my oldest son Jesse gets deployed somewhere, I'm holding my breath till I hear that he's back home safe.
Of course.
So, especially around the holidays. So when we sing, this Christmas Day, and Jessica sort of opens up that big voice of his and starts singing about, his child's coming home. I mean, that puts a lump in my throat.
Oh, I bet.
Because I live that. So there's all the emotions. Christmas is as complicated as the music that we've presented to it. It's complicated. There's dynamics. There's ups and downs. And right now, it's the happiest time ever.
All right. So. For sure. And our prayers go out to your children and your new family as well. And, we know that you guys do, the wonderful thing that you guys do that I love too is the meet and greet. You guys don't charge for that. It's just a very humble thing that you guys do on your 8 p.m. shows, your evening shows. Any interesting gifts from any fans that you've gotten through the years?
I think the most interesting is when somebody will come through the line and say, hey, dude, you guys gave me a guitar 4 years ago and I've been practicing it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's the unheard of gifts, or the really special ones, I should say. People, they're always bringing lovely things and Christmas ornaments, pictures, and stuff like that. That's awesome. But when I've heard that, maybe somehow magically we nudged, a younger kid into a musical direction, whether they pursue it for a livelihood or not doesn't matter, but at least they're doing it now and they're being creative and they're getting that side of their brain working. That's
exactly.
the best thing we've ever been giving back.
Yes, that's a truly blessing. Al, always a pleasure to have you on. Say something out there, a little shout out to all your fans out there, a little holiday shout out.
Everybody in the great state of Texas, can't wait to see you guys. Dallas will be there in a couple days, and I promise you're going to be the best show ever. Love you all.
All right, you guys, hold on just 1 second, Al. Everybody, lead guitarist and music director, Mr. Al Pitrelli of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They're going to be live here Sunday, December 21st, 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. So don't forget to get your tickets. American Airlines Center is going to be a great show.